Hi, this is Robert Kiyosaki, and you're listening to Capital Hacking. This is the most important thing you can listen to today.
He's the one.
I have a dream.
With great power comes great responsibility.
I could do this all day.
This is it. Don't get scared now.
They may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom.
Cinderella's story out of nowhere.
It's in the hole. That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Capital Hacking begins in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the big show. I'm doing this is Josh McCallan, John Edwin. I'm doing some crazy hand motions here, but you can't see it if you're listening on Spotify.
It was a great show today. It was awesome with Frank Lauletta and Chris Marrone. Chris has been a buddy of ours for many years. They have an amazing law firm. You're going to learn so much, not just about the scary part, if someone gets served and you have to go see an attorney, and that's a little scary, but the fun parts.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, this is a really incredible law firm. It's called Lauletta Law Firm, and Chris Marrone is a partner there with Frank Lauletta and several other really top lawyers. And what I'm basically trying to identify why I'm so passionate about this law firm, and I'll call it the Goldilocks size. So we go through in this show. You're going to learn about what's it like to work with the biggest law firms, what's it like to work with Uncle Louie the lawyer. And then, man, what is the middle perfect Goldilocks principle? And I think we found it today. And then we're going to learn about the good side of hiring lawyers. John, I don't want to take away the punchline. There is a great side, and you're going to learn it in this episode.
Let's go.
We got Frank and Chris here. This is going to be awesome, John.
I mean, they're legal teams, so it's double trouble right here. Frank and Chris, can each of you give us a little background on who you are so our listeners can connect?
Sure. First, you want me to start? Yeah. My name is Frank Lauletta. I'm a corporate attorney. I started my career in big, large Philadelphia national law firms, doing corporate work, M&A, things like that. And then I had the fortunate, time of my career where we were in the .com era. And at that point in time, there were a lot of software and high-tech companies looking for in-house counsel. So I went in-house to a company, did that for a few years. And then we raised, a lot of money, venture capital style, did all those things, filed an IPO, pretty exciting times. Then I went back into a big, large corporation law firm. And then I headed back out to a general counsel job, which was a public company in Silicon Valley. Did that for a few years. And then I started this law firm in 2009. And then Chris, you tell me about yourself.
Yeah, so I been practicing over 25 years. I have an intellectual property background. I'm a registered patent attorney. I worked for an intellectual property firm for the first few years in Philadelphia. I left there to start my own practice. Had my own practice for about 17, 18 years doing, real estate work, intellectual property, and some general corporate matters. Then Frank and I actually went to high school with each other, so we had a relationship. Frank and I spoke in 2017. I've been here for about 8 years now as a partner. Basically, I work with all entrepreneurs. I consider myself an entrepreneur, term I came up with. But mainly from startup to businesses functioning to general corporate, intellectual property to purchase of assets, whether it's business or real estate related. And that's mainly why I'm here and what we do.
I have a question for you guys. So we're going to ask the tough questions, right? We're going to ask the tough questions about, what's the spectrum of different options when working with law firms? What's it like? But before we get into the business questions, you got to tell us a little bit about, what drives you guys? What makes this part of your life right now, of helping companies like this where they're at? Why are you doing this? It's such hard work. What motivates each of you?
Hey, everybody, it's Robert Helms, host of the Real Estate Guys radio program. And when you're not listening to our show, make sure you're tuned to Capital Hacking. You're going to dig it.
So to me, it's fun learning about different businesses. So we have different clients and they're in different industries. And we really pride ourselves in really getting to know the actual client and their business. So we look for long-term engagements. We really want to understand the business. We have clients where they're lawyers longer than all their salespeople were salespeople, right? So we become important assets to the company with institutional knowledge, and we become very important to the future success of the company. we look for, clients that are, great people, great clients, great products, and we look to help, be a part of that process. The other thing I love about practicing law is teaching the next generation of lawyers to be lawyers. So I've been doing this for 95, so 30 years. And I think I could use that for the benefit of clients, but also young attorneys that are looking to get experience. So that's my 2 reasons.
Yeah, and kind of picking up on that, being, over 25 years now practicing, a big part of what we do here is teaching the younger folks, and that's enjoyable to me. I love being a client advisor and, and generating new leads and meeting new people and learning about their businesses, but then more importantly, being part of their team and part of their creation and part of something they believe in, because most of your entrepreneurs, man, they're so passionate. And that's kind of what drew me to GoBundance and meeting you guys, knowing you guys. But back to from the legal standpoint, really teaching the young guys, like, you can know all the law in the world, but you really got to understand how to run a business, know a client, know what they want, and know that part. And that's what I really enjoy. I really being part of the process and learning about people and their passions and helping them to grow, whatever it is from a real estate standpoint or just from a business acquisition or a sale. So that's really where it is.
Yeah, I like what you said right there, Chris, when you were saying, I'm a client advisor, because whenever and thankfully I've only had to, work with lawyers a few times in my life, but, to the public, it can be a little scary. It can be a little intimidating. How is it? And by the way, you are a total advisor to everyone in GoBundance locally. You're amazing. But like, walk us through the experience, right? So somebody reaches out because they need, something legally to you guys. Like, how does that work for a client?
Well, I could tell you, obviously, depending on what their contacting is, but normally I'll use litigation as an example, only because that's probably the scariest thing to a client. And they'll call us and, they're very upset. Maybe they got served with a letter or a complaint, or it's against somebody who they're so emotional about. So it's really about, really controlling the client's emotions and then really making sure they understand the expectations. And then from experience, really guiding them along a process that we probably have dealt with already in a similar situation. And we kind of ease their mind up and make them feel a little bit more comfortable and knowing that, we got their backs. And if they decide to hire us, that we're really going to be in their corner and really do good by it. So that's the most important thing for me. It's really bringing that client down to a level of understanding.
I can jump in also. I mean, it's, we get clients that are not only litigation, but they're also business matters. And, John, you said you're afraid, it's scary when you have to talk to an attorney, but there's a lot of scenarios where talking to your attorney means your business is thriving. Maybe you want to get to the next level. And it's exciting times to talk to your attorney because, a lot of attorneys that have experience in these areas, they've seen clients from startup, they've nurtured them through, the middle market to maybe a successful exit, seen everything in between. And those are fun times when you're talking to your attorney, when you're raising capital or you're, getting a great new client, negotiating great terms or expanding your business or, maybe a bigger facility. All those things are all positive. So sometimes talking to your attorney is positive.
That's great.
Everybody hates litigation, but there's also good things. Sometimes
you're absolutely right, Frank. And thinking about M&A and that sort of stuff is really exciting. I was just thinking back many years ago when I got served with papers for the first time because a tenant had a slip and fall or something, and it was a fraudulent case. But I remember just like, oh my gosh, this has never happened, and it was a scary. But you're absolutely right, Frank. When your business is doing well and you're talking about selling or buying, that is very exciting.
It is. And we met with you guys recently for our group of companies, and it's about this idea of getting to another stage of growth is actually the key reason I'm excited about getting to know you guys. And now I have a couple of things I thought were really interesting that listeners would love. One, we have to start with really serious stuff. Why is there a flamethrower in your office? And why does Elon Musk make flamethrowers? You guys said that, but I've never heard this.
Yeah. So you got to see the whole office really to get a good feeling. You did, Josh, but I think we took you for a tour. But besides flamethrowers, sometimes you might see someone riding by on a bicycle because we have bicycles and 4-wheelers and stuff like that all throughout the office. So We have this because Elon Musk sold a limited number of these things, and it was a kind of interesting legal concept behind it because he sold it as a not so real flamethrower. So he gave you $5 in the box to say you go out and buy your own propane. But he had some legal issues with trying to get this thing out there, and there are only so many of them. So there is some legal reason why we have it there, but it's also pretty cool and pretty funny.
I think it's hilarious.
We fired it out front. We had a picture of that. We'll have to send it to you.
So you're saying it doesn't actually exist for sale anymore because he had too many issues with it, too many legal issues.
A very short period of time.
Do you have a picture of you shooting a flamethrower on your social media page?
I don't think we have it on the social media page, but we'll share it with you.
Well, you should do that and say, you know how like Morgan and Morgan for the people crap?
Yeah.
You should say, this is what we do when people come after our clients, and you shoot that.
Good one. We don't want to scare people too much.
Well, but you're defending the good people, so you got to fight the bad people. So there are a couple other great things that I've come to learn about your firm that I'm going to tee it up so people can kind of understand law and the way it works. The universe of getting a lawyer starts with every startup cell phone based startup guy with a truck and an iPhone. Their legal advice comes from Uncle Louie, right? Or cousin Jim, right? It's always, I know a lawyer, I'm going to call him. So that's like the lowest end of finding legal advice. It's the one relative who happened to go to law school. But there's the gamut of people getting legal advice out there. And I like the way you've designed your firm, but I know where it lives. But could you tell me, like, what does a normal company do to go get legal advice? And what are the universe of options, starting with the most, the biggest law firms down to cousin Louie? What are the options out there in the world?
Well, those options have changed drastically in the last 12 or 18 months with the advent of ChatGPT, because it seems like everybody now goes on ChatGPT. Whereas, when WebMD came out, everybody thought they didn't need their doctor anymore. They just went on WebMD. Well, they kind of do that now with ChatGPT. People call us up all the time. Hey, we got this, issue. I already researched it on ChatGPT, and here's what it told me. What do you think? It's like, listen, ChatGPT is great, and it gives you a good first, understanding of a lot of different things. But it's not the end all and be all. So it is good though, because people can educate themselves through things like ChatGPT and just Google internet searches. But I'm saying the first place people go this day and age is the internet or ChatGPT, and from that point, they get an understanding and they reach out to a friend or family to find out who's a competent attorney for whatever they're dealing with.
Yeah, and a big part of our business, Josh, as I'm sure you can imagine, is referrals. And I've always prided myself from early on to treat clients fairly, be honest, don't screw them, because that'll come back 10x, maybe more. And it has. I mean, I get a lot of business because people speak good about me and say, hey, call this guy, he's going to do right by you. And that's really a big part of it. I mean, like any other business, whether it's doctor, lawyers, there's bad doctors, there's great doctors. Bad lawyers, there's great lawyers. So really just me, it's about treating the clients fairly and honestly and doing right by them.
And there's a couple things that have come across my desk, over the years where you wonder when you're in any kind of real big situation, should you go out and hire one of the big branded firms in a big city, Philadelphia, or even maybe New York? And why do people sometimes do that? How does that help sometimes? And how does it hurt sometimes for businesses?
Hi, this is Melanie McCallan. Josh and I are just so grateful for the many investors who have already joined us at Accountable Equity. Accountable Equity is so much more than a capital group. It's really a community of accredited investors that want to learn and grow together. I just want to personally invite you, if you want to find out more about this type of investment and see if it's right for you and your family, please visit us at accountableequity.com.
Hey, it's Hal Elrod, author of The Miracle Morning, and you're listening to Capital Hacking. Enjoy.
Well, I mean, listen, I'm a proponent of big law firms because what you do get with a big law firm is you certainly get competency, sort of, for the most part, unquestioned competency. You have great attorneys. You also have, a team that's big enough to support whatever you need to have accomplished. There's plenty of lawyers out there that will take on any case, whether they have time to handle it or not, or any matter. And sometimes lawyers take on matters that they're not really experts at.
Right.
So that's a scary concept. So if you go to a big firm, you're taking little risk because clearly there's going to be somebody there that probably has expertise and they're going to have enough people to get the job done. If you want, but it's expensive. That's the downfall.
Yeah. And well, how does it look to the other side? You know, the people on the other side. I remember one time I was buying a property and they were like, the bankers who it was a foreclosed property was actually owned by the bank, and they were proud of me for hiring a big firm, which was not accidental, but wasn't the reason I hired them. They actually said that helped them take our offer more seriously because it was a contractual offer that based on a foreclosed property. So I've seen some positives. The negatives, though, which I'll help you here because you guys know this, it's almost second nature to you, but for our listeners, is the mountain of billable minutes and hours. Yes, the competency's there, but they know there's like techniques in law, right? Where you just bring a second person and now you're double billing and this person's reviewing after you review. It seems like it's numerous ways that you can get crushed as a client in a big firm.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily on purpose, but what happens when you have these big firms and you have people that are so specialized is they don't veer off of.
That's right.
With specialty. So in a deal, you might need 5 people to accomplish everything. Whereas in I would say a mid-sized firm where you're kind of veering off and handling more things, it's a more practical product you're receiving because we don't need 5 people. We might need 2. Right.
Right. Yeah. And that's my compliment to you two guys and to your firm of 30 plus experienced veteran professional lawyers and different. You've done what a big firm does at a scale that is super scalable for us as a client, because you really do have let's say a senior partner in each of the core disciplines of a business, everything from employment law, right? I mean, you have litigation, you have, of course, real estate. I love that Chris has IP, by the way. We have to brainstorm someday, about IP, but I think what you guys have done, you have 2 unique things that I'll just give you credit for as an outsider. One, I'll call it that mid-size perfect. It's the Goldilocks. It feels like you guys have designed the Goldilocks model where you're not going to feel like you have lack of competency because it's 2 dudes or 4 people. It's got some real scale, but you don't have those layers and layers where everybody has to be billing. You really seem to be practical and pragmatic and want to get the win done. So compliments to that. And then the other thing that I really want you to talk about, Frank or Chris, is the way junior people do serve on a team approach. I thought that was genius. Can you share a little more about that?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So there's 2 sort of components to that. So what you're speaking about, Josh, is that we kind of, we manage from bottom up, we say, right? So we put a team together for every client, and inevitably on every one of those teams is what we call an apprentice. That's a first or second year attorney. And those apprentices they come in our firm right out of law school, and it's a 2-year program, obviously. And their job, because they're not good lawyers yet, they can't be. And they don't know how your business operates. They don't know how businesses are even successful. Quite frankly, a lot of them don't have a lot of experience. But what they can be good at is, and many of them are coming out of law school and be very smart, is they're organized and they know how to follow up. We say that's what your first job is to make sure that if Chris or me or another partner in this office gives a client, we go over timelines. Hey, we're going to get this to you by Thursday. Then on Tuesday, we're going to do this. Your job is to make sure we do all those things. That's their part of the process in the team. And they learn from that point forward. But also that teaches them is responsiveness. One of the biggest complaints that clients have from lawyers from big firms to small is lack of responsiveness. So we teach that right out of the gate. That's to us one of the most important things. If we say we're going to do something, we get it done when we say we're going to get it done, and we're always responsive and we communicate.
Chris, you and I had some conversations about you get a what is it called, Chris, that you're going to be for our company, our contact
outside counsel model.
Well, no, you're like our advisor as you put the specialists on the team.
The client advisor. Yeah. So
yeah,
that's how I run my practice. And like Frank was saying, like, for example, Josh, in one of the matters we're handling for you, I put our specific partner chair of litigation on it, one of our associates, but I still manage the file. I'm still with it. I'm still making sure that things are getting done, communicating with you as the client, but I don't bill my time on it because you're my client, and that's kind of the way our model works.
Yeah, so it's typically a 3-person team, and it'll always have a senior, and it's always going to have one of those apprentices.
I love it.
And that helps keep the cost down.
Hey guys, it's John Vroman, founder of Front Row Dads, and you're listening to Capital Hacking, the best investment you'll make today.
That's awesome. And something that you said, Frank, which was really great, is that, being a mid-sized firm, you guys can handle a lot of different things. And I've seen, just in the GoBundance local crew, how quickly, Chris, you've been able to pivot and understand and answer all different types of legal questions, which has been awesome. I guess I want to get into a little bit of a deep dive, and we don't have to use Josh, but I'd like to if we could. How will you guys be able to help Josh scale his business?
I think Josh and I spoke about that a little bit, but I mean, really, first things first, we have to get integrated and learn about his business, right? We need to look at what has he been doing in the past and how he's got to where he is since 2018 when he first got Renault to, where he is today. And let's look at that and let's, really understand his corporate structuring and, devise a plan. And then through our, institutional knowledge with other clients and the business attorneys we could really assist in, how he wants to scale his business realistically and work with him towards that.
Yeah, I would say the other thing that we maybe do a little bit different than, this is important. So when we started this law firm, we had to have, and this was back in 2009, every partner that joined this firm had to have national law firm experience and either an MBA or executive level experience. So what that meant was we wanted lawyers that were also business people because they know how to communicate with business owners who are operating businesses. So what we did was, for instance, I'm in Excel almost as much as I'm in Word. I know how to read financial statements. Most of our attorneys know how to read financial statements. We're lawyers, but we're business people at the same time. So, and quite frankly, we have clients that were more experienced business people than they are, especially younger people. So that's how you kind of provide a business level legal advice.
Yeah, I loved learning about some of your business entrepreneurial endeavors. Chris, you shared with me some of your real estate, but for those listeners that love connecting on that too, right? They want to work with people like you guys that have. What are some experiential things you guys do in the world of entrepreneurship and real estate? What do you guys do?
Yeah, I mean, I have a real estate company that I started in, when was it? 2000 probably. And we acquire various types of properties from apartment buildings to office buildings like the one we're sitting in. We have some industrial properties. We probably have hundreds of keys, doors, whether rental units for whether they're apartments or offices. We also own and operate a co-working facility that we started in 2007, which quite frankly was 2 years before WeWorking started.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have a lot in the real estate world.
Yeah, similarly, I own a lot of real estate, not, as many towards as Frank. I have more of commercial triple net type of investments, more passive. I started flipping properties back in the early 2000s. Then I formed a company with my kids to teach them how to own and operate businesses. And we purchased multiple condos together with the hopes they don't know yet that, I'll give them some properties once they're off on their own. But
now they're going to know.
Yeah. Now they're going to
But I do love it. So you guys eat your own cooking, you know what I mean? And that's the way it should be. So, what question did we not ask that you were like, I hope we talk about this? Because I think you guys have a very dynamic firm.
That's right.
We could talk about your great offices. No, you do have a great office and you do have a great flamethrower, but no, I think it's awesome.
Up, Josh, kind of what we talked about, where you wanted to understand the big firm and then where we are.
Yeah, add some color.
Yeah, and I always pride myself in telling people that we're just as good, maybe better than the big firms, but we're half the price. We're a lot more reasonable for business people. And we do just as good work because, like Frank said, majority of our upper level partners, do have either an MBA. I'm a registered patent attorney. Different people have different, other degrees other than just a law degree, and that sets us aside from your average Joe.
Like I was going to say, one other thing we're really proud of that recently we just got awarded with was the Philadelphia Business Journal has an annual. You guys might be familiar with this, but they have an annual best places to work, and we typically get nominated as one of the companies in the, I think we're in a small category. I think they nominate like 80 companies based upon employee reviews and feedback. And this year we won. We were number one in the small business category.
Awesome.
Out of a lot of companies in the Philadelphia area. So that's kind of cool for a law firm where traditionally it's pretty hard charging being in a law firm. Client demands are great. There's a lot of stress. And typically, employees could be stressed out a lot of times when you work in a law firm. But our employees love it here. Josh, you saw the offices. We have, ping pong and cornhole, and we bring in lunch on Fridays, and it's a fun place to work, and people like coming to work. And I don't think that's a necessarily normal in a law firm.
And the apprenticeship, compliments you on that, because it feels like that adds a lot of value to the clients, where they get basically instant response time and clarity of where we're at in the process, while the partners can dig in and do great work as well. And that kind of apprenticeship is it's a fair trade for those younger people.
And we represent a lot of construction companies, contractors, plumbing companies, electrical companies, and you can't become a plumber or an electrician without doing an apprenticeship.
Exactly.
But you can get out there and open up your own law firm the day after you graduate from law school, which is a pretty scary concept.
Yeah, well, you guys are absolutely fantastic. Where can our listeners connect with you? Like, how do we have an Instagram site,
LinkedIn, Instagram. People can always reach out to me or Chris, quite frankly. And we're always available. We have our cell phones and our email addresses on our website, so we're fully accessible.
What is your website?
Lauletta.com. LAULETTA.com.
Great. We look forward to following up with you guys. Can't wait to see you again next time. You guys did great. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys.
Damn straight. We just got we got to the end of another great show. And everyone listening right now, you're the family and friends. Thanks for staying till the end.
That was so fun. And hey, hit the like, hit subscribe. We're here to serve you guys. That's why we're doing this show. Josh is not paying me. I'm doing this off of my quote unquote sweat equity because we want to make a difference in your life. And then that ripple effect will continue to touch the world.
Hey, amen, brother. Please check us out on capitalhacking.com, all the social media threads. And yes, I know you've probably already sent this episode to one of your best friends. Thank you. We love you. Just go right into your iPhone, hit the plus symbol. We'll talk to you later. See you next week.
Share.